This is fried whale steak, breaded whale steaks.
Wow.
And this is from a whale.
In the village of Point Hope, Alaska, nearly everything on your plate comes from the garden, the bounty of sea and land. Here, just making a family dinner from this garden is an effort for Mossack Lane.
For the bigger things, we use the saw. This cuts the fish and the caribou bones.
Each spring, the Inupiat community hunts whales in these frigid waters. Just one 50-ton bowhead whale can feed the entire town of 700 for a year. But the Inupiat fear their days of traditional hunting could be numbered. Point Hope lies on the coast of the Chukchi Sea. Under it,
25 to 27 billion barrels of oil, 120 trillion cubic feet of gas. So
Pete Slaby heads Shell's drilling operations in Alaska. In 2008, Shell paid the federal government more than $2 billion for the right to drill off of Point Hope.
Our wells here in Alaska are shallower, relatively simple to design, and we have track records of delivering these wells.
Shell wanted to start drilling this summer, but opposition from environmental groups, concerns over air quality by the EPA, and the fallout from the Gulf disaster forced it to delay its plans. Now Shell wants to start up again in 2012. Slaby says despite the remoteness of the Arctic, drilling there will be much safer compared to the Gulf.
Will we see a spill like we've seen in Macondo? And I think the answer to that is no. We do not have that volume. We do not have that water depth.
Mossack Lane isn't so sure.
We're way out here. How are they going to bring the equipment? The second thing is the ocean is aggressive, and it can be.
One of the large assets actually will spend the winter in Alaska, the Nanook, a 300-foot ice-classed oil spill response vessel, most modern in the world, that can work in ice, deploy a massive amount of recovery equipment.
But it's not just a potential spill that has residents uneasy. Natives fear that Shell's initial seismic mapping of the oil fields using air guns will create enough noise that causes the whales the Inupiats depend on to veer away, making them harder to catch. Eugene Brower is a whaling captain.
It will deflect the migration route. Any noise in front of it will deflect the bowhead whale out from its migration route. So it goes out, it'll start deflecting 20, 25 miles away from the source. There goes our way of life.
Shell says that won't happen.
We have altered our routes so we actually travel away from coastal areas to keep the pressure off seals, walrus, coastal animals.
Now, just a few hundred miles from the village of Point Hope is the town of Barrow. Now, the roads are still dirt here, but as you can see, there are a few differences.
The oil industry is not our enemy.
Edward Ida is the mayor of Barrow, the largest town on the North Slope. Here, only 20% of the residents depend on whaling for food. That's because Barrow sits surrounded by oil fields. There are restaurants, taxi cabs, banks, and tourists eager to see life at the top of the world.
Our standard of living has improved dramatically, as well as the health, due to our ability to have the good fortune to be able to tax the oil industry.
And the final decision over new offshore drilling is mainly in the hands of the federal government. The Obama administration backed oil drilling offshore, only to put new drilling permits on hold after the Gulf disaster. Now, with oil prices close to $100 a barrel and gas prices over $4 a gallon, the White House is leaning towards opening the Chukchi again. At a hearing this month, the EPA appeared ready to change its tune.
And now I think we're very close to an understanding between us and Shell about where their opportunity is, how they can structure their permit, and how we can deliver a solid permit.
Back in Point Hope, Mossack Lane is working in the city office. First up, fixing the rundown rec center for the 200-plus children in town. It's a challenge. The city's total budget is just $200,000. Fixing the rec center will cost thousands.
As some do want development here. They want to have swimming pools and other recreational activities which we don't have and cannot provide.
Mossack Lane says she's torn. Oil revenue could pay for a rec center, but she worries about a spill destroying her community.
That would lose everything else they even had. Right now, they're rich with the subsistence. The freezers are full with the subsistence foods, and may not have lots of money, but lots of love and food, and the choice they're being faced with is either to choose their garden or choose the money.
On the north slope of Alaska, Dan Goldstein, Energy Now.